What's up, everyone? We're back again. I'm Crow Sirius once again joining me, and we have round 3 coming at you. We're focusing more on the 4-win teams now because if you end up being 5-2, you're pretty much guaranteed in tomorrow.
Yeah, it's just going to be looking to secure that final win to secure their placement into the closed qualifiers tomorrow. So it's just going to be a matter of, can they secure the spot now, or are they going to have to fight it out in the last round?
Yeah, and of course, you want to get it over with as early as possible, especially because remember, seeding matters. It is a whole 16-team bracket, and we're going to be seeding all these teams 1 through 16. So, the two teams that we'll see are HK Rebels and S2 Esports, formerly known as Stay Safe. We've seen S2 before, Reverse Wi-Fi, AMP, TPA, and Packrat. And HK Rebels, they were on the B stream, they are new to the A stream. Doug, Burnt Turkey, Millies, Vipoa, and Rai Rai. Rai Rai actually coming in from Collegiate, one of the top three teams in Collegiate from NCSU. And S2 actually have a bit of a roster, well, not really a roster change, but a substitute coming in. TPA is out, and Snake, former T3 player, now on TSM and heading to the major, is in.
Yeah, it's just going to be a really big boost for S2, thankfully for them. Not going to really be missing TPA too much now that Snake's here. Not to kind of diss TPA too much, but that having Snake is going to be really big for them. But we're going to see Border, Chalet, Club, Cafe, Theme, Oregon, Bank, Sky as our bands, and Villa as our final decider map.
Yeah, so another not terribly standard map, but still a map that you should know how to play. And you can get kind of freaky on it, which I'm excited for. S2 are a freaky team, like we've seen them play before. HK Rebels, I know especially Burnt Turkey, loves this map. I'm pretty sure Millies is a big fan of Villa as well. And we're going to be heading, I believe, right into the game. Starting on the defense will be S2 Esports. They were, I believe they were afforded the side choice since HK Rebels had the final ban. And we'll see what the operator bans are. I imagine a Nook will be taken off the board instantly by S2. And if not, it'll be banned by HK Rebels. Because Nook, a very powerful operator on this map, considering those nades. Thatcher will actually be taken out. And I don't think HK Rebels want to leave up a Nook against a team playing with a sub, especially if that sub is Snake.
In the 4 times they played it, they have banned out the Nook, so sticking to their general conventions, probably going to see a Valk or even a Mira ban. They've only banned that out once in the 4 times they played it. But interesting thing to note, Crow, is that both of these teams are just played. There we go with the Valkyrie ban. But both of these teams have just played Villa very recently in the last 2 rounds at least. HK Rebels beating out Riz Academy 7-0 on that map. And S2, I don't remember who they beat, but they just beat another team on Villa. So very interesting to see that they're both trying to ride out the momentum on this map in particular, because clearly this is a very comfortable map for them. So it's just going to be a matter of who really has the better strategy on this map.
AVG will be the first site for S2. Snake will probably be on his usual fragging role, I imagine. And I have not actually gotten to see HK Rebels play just yet. I know 3 or 4 out of the 5 on an individual player basis. This would be my first time watching them play as a team. And the roles working out pretty much as I expect. Rai Rai gonna primarily be playing that hard breach smoke. Burnt Turkey, he can play really anything you want him to slot into. Kind of curious to see the dynamic between him and Doug, because Vipoa and Millies are absolutely gonna be that dynamic duo on entry. Meanwhile, S2, as you can tell, Reverse and Amp playing the more supportive roles. Well, I say supportive, it's Frost. But Amp usually playing the smoke on his team. Sometimes Reverse plays it as well. Packrat on the Alibi, and Snake on Ella. So not your typical lineup. No Jaeger, no Amai, no Aruni, no projectile denial whatsoever. But they do have 4 shields, so.
Yeah, but not a whole lot in terms of just actually util player outside of the Ashe and the Sophia. But C4 does just miss onto that. What is that spawn actually called? I forget.
That's a great question. Crow? I know Ruins Fountain. I don't know what that one is.
Or I'm just gonna call that street because it's next to a street. But either way, Rebels is just gonna be kind of just going for a little bit of a roam clear. I do believe I saw someone still out over on the study balk area. We actually do see two, so it's gonna be more of a kind of pinch for them, kind of just slowly isolating out some of these players as they rotate back onto site, and hopefully just opening up a lot of these avenues so they're not really comfortable on the actual bomb site and on their rotates back. So it's just gonna be a matter of can they clear out Snake and this other roamer assisting him.
And one of those roamers, Pack Rat, actually not a roamer, but the player in study, will be the first entry frag, thanks to Rai playing the ace. Wi-Fi the next to play inside of study, but Rai not covering the window allows Wi-Fi back into the site. Burnt Turkey, the first dead on the attack. Beautiful shot from Amp from inside the site onto the study balcony. That's Flores dead pretty early with 4 shields to play with. That's not the operator you want to lose.
Yeah, it's just going to really hurt their burn potential later on. They still do have Vipoa and Millies on the Ashe and Sophia, so not completely out of it in terms of just burning out those shields. So thankfully, they do still have enough, but they're going to have to be smart about their usage of it. But they are still having to deal with Snake, who's just kind of roaming all the way down to the basement. It's going to be lurking around later on, so they're going to have to keep their eyes on the back of their heads right now.
Wi-Fi is getting aggressive. He's exposed to the window if Rai chooses to swing it, and he'll finally spot him out. Wi-Fi turns just in time, but can't land the shot. Reverse narrowly evades the shots from 90. Amp coming in to support, but not finding anyone. They've already escaped, but Vipoa looking the wrong way. Next to die, there's the equalizer from the defense. Snake still running amok downstairs. That's who Millies is hunting for, and he's now carrying Case. Thanks to the death of Burnt Turkey. He might pass it off to Doug, though, considering, I think we can all agree the M762, a more formidable weapon than Dokubi's DMR, but in he goes. He's just going to try and get this plant down. Snake is not downstairs to deny. The gas canister, not there. It's not hitting. Millies gets the plant down seemingly for free outside the main door. Rai, now his 3rd kill. He has all 3 for the attack. Millies runs through the gas to get to his post-plant position, and now Amp and Snake, they've got to clutch up this post-plant, and Snake won't be able to do anything. Rai looking for the ace, and he'll get it. Round 1, and the frag support comes alive. All 5 kills for Rai, and first round for HK Rebels.
I mean, Rai just did so much in that round. He just really locked down the entirety of study for his team to be able to comfortably push up and not allow anybody from S2 to swing out onto them. Just really good job by them and just punishing all that super heavy aggression coming out from S2, trying to equalize man count, and was just unfortunately not able to really deal with Rai on those windows and study balk. Just really hurt their potential to try to clutch out that round. And that's just a really good start for the HK Rebels.
Beautiful start, and that's something that Rai did a lot of back in collegiate. Glad to see that he can hang with the guys in T3 as well. Although he was top collegiate, and the top collegiate teams pack a punch, T3 is a different beast. S2 Esports likely not happy with giving all 5 kills to just a guy hanging outside the study window, and they'll swap to trophy stat. Reverse now playing on the cap can, some drone denial from Wi-Fi, otherwise a pretty similar lineup. HK Rebels, it looks like, Burnt Turkey's going to be flexing onto the flank watch with Doug sticking the Dokubi. I don't really think the Dokubi did a whole lot for the team, but it didn't hurt. So I guess why not keep it, especially with S2 now flexing downstairs. You help hunt him down with that call.
Well, that was a very interesting swing coming out from Wi-Fi, just swinging out the main doorway, just super wide, not able to find anyone as Rebels had already moved their way on up, thankfully, but they are going to be aware that he's somewhere kind of nearby, as Snake is also looking to get super aggressive, not finding anyone, and actually gets punished by Doug as he tries to retreat back into laundry, but unfortunately, now they're already a man down. It's barely even 30 seconds into the round.
And Wi-Fi might be the next on the table. Millie's coming in with the pre-fire and gets him through the wall. Wi-Fi off the board, finished off by Vipoa, and they're aware of yet another player coming in. Pack Rat trying to gain some ground back, but it's a fool's errand. Millies takes him out, and now Reverse and Amp. 2 versus 5. C4 pre-placed, finds nothing. Now all they've got are maybe some EDDs scattered around the map. 3 gas canisters from Amp. A nasty 1-tap from Reverse. Catches the head of Vipoa. Now a 2 versus 4, but HK Rebels still with double the man count available to the defense.
I mean, they have all the time in the world to work this site however they want. Doug is going to be looking to rotate over to the Master Balk, and possibly Ryra is going to follow him after dropping that diffuser. So now it's really just up to S2 to try to just stall out HK Rebels for as long as they can in this attempt to just, while they're rotating, this is their only opportunity just to try to get something going to keep it somewhat fair for them. But right now, after losing so many bodies early on, it's going to be a real struggle for them to come back in this round, especially now that Doug has moved on up, but Oki gets a nice shot into Millie's, making it a little bit closer for S2.
Great shot from Amp. And another, as Amp takes out Rai. Now it's a 2 versus 2, the man count out of nowhere. Equalized. Burnt Turkey attempting to make his way by statue as his teammate works up the Astro stairs. The camera, I believe, having been shot out. Reverse tucked in the corner of the B bomb site, caught out by Doug. And Amp now finds himself alone, rotates across the wall. Doug not in position to catch him or cut him off. The plant starting to go down. Doug's not looking the right way. Amp, if he swings now, could find a free kill, but now it's caught Doug's attention. Attempting to swing on through. He lets Amp go, but at least the plant is completed and Burnt Turkey will back off, knowing he can play for the distance and time. The crossfire not played, but there we go. Burnt Turkey in there with the refrag. A beautiful attempt from Amp. We've seen 2 really good clutch attempts by Smoke from the last map from, I think it was Slickly, and now Amp here, but neither successful. And HK Rebels go up 2-0.
Well, we saw Amp try to just get a little bit aggressive and just swing out onto the Rebels while they weren't really expecting it, so good job by him. And also a nice shot here by Reverse, just able to kind of make it a little bit easier for Amp to try to just keep it even. But at that point, just there was too much space given up by S2, so that way Rebels could get into the site and plant the diffuser pretty safely, just allowed Doug to try to cover his teammate as best as he could. Even though he lost the gunfight, the refrag was almost immediately there, so just losing too many bodies early on really cost S2, but it was a really great attempt by Amp to try to keep that even.
We're back onto AVG as well, and we'll see Burnt Turkey keep that Flores like he played in the previous attempt. I think we can all remember Rai's ace in round number 1, just playing outside of study. Doubt S2 Esports falls for that again. Snake no longer on Ella either. He's playing on that Malusi, Mute, and Mozzie combo coming out. Much less shield presence. They'll go from 4 to just 1 from Amp, figuring that all that shield presence doesn't really do you much if you're all dying to the study player. And they'll still have 2 people playing in and around study, maybe even 3 with Wi-Fi right behind that wall. Maybe the strategy being, hey, he can't kill all of us. We'll get him eventually, and that'll knock out not only the player who aced from study last time, but also the Soul Hard Breach.
Well, there seems to be heavy emphasis from S2 to try to lock down study for as long as they can. They have 3 people committed to try to kill Rai, or at least stall him out for as long as they can. So that leaves a lot of room open for everybody else from Rebels to move on into Master in the statue area, but they are able to kill Burnt Turkey pretty early on. That's going to be a sledge and nades off the board, so a little bit of burn potential is going to be gone. But like I mentioned, all of statue and trophy is completely vacated. They can take this for free because of the overcommitment by S2 onto study.
I'm interested to see what Rai does about it, because he can't even stay there and safely drone with how close these S2 players are playing to the windows. They hear him get on a drone, it could be a pretty easy run out. And speaking of drones, we don't check red stairs, at least not yet. Finally it comes in, they spot Snake, and the Malusi will start to retreat down those red stairs back down into the basement, likely to come up and rejoin his team sometime later in the round. Rai now establishing himself on that study rappel. Here's the swing from Amp, but it's not going to swing far enough. Throws in 1 ace charge, ends up being caught by a Wamai disc from Reverse, who's setting up even more. And this is, even if they don't kill Rai here, still a good play, because it means he can't get this ranged hard breach down and can't get the easy angles into the bomb site. Packrat makes matters worse as Vipoa is the next to die, and now the attack find themselves in a 3 versus 5. Rai gets 1 back onto Packrat. Millie's very concerned with the possible flank from Snake, and the time is dwindling.
just a lot of time being wasted by Snake and just the rest of these roamers in study. So just a lot of the things that were going right in the first round is just not going so well. Now it's going to be really tough for the Exeter to come out because it's only a 2v4 right now.
Snake rotates away from the red stairs as well. So Millie's on a bit of a fool's errand. There's also a shotgun right behind this wall, but Amp caught with the smoke vape in hand. Reverse with a very quick refrag. Dug another onto Wi-Fi down the classical hall. And now he's in a 1 versus 2. Smoke subsiding. Reverse just inside the bomb site right behind the wall. And the Dokkaebi is none the wiser. Doesn't spot him on the cross. Taking out the SMG-12 to play for the close angle, doesn't check the right way, and loses the fight to the Wamai. S2 Esports looks like putting all those bodies in study pays off, and they get their first point.
Well, even though they gave up so much control over to Rebels onto the actual statue and trophy part of the map, just because of the fact that Rai couldn't do what he did last time in opening up all those angles onto the actual bomb site, just meant that those players could now just sit there pretty comfortably and just hold those angles onto the actual vault doorway. So now they couldn't go for that same plant as easily as they did last time and just had to basically brute force their way in.
Yeah, and that was the big thing, is the brute forcing. Because with especially, what do you call it? Reverse positioning himself to get the instant trade on Millies and into that corner. Pretty unwinnable situation for Doug. Got to admire Amp committing to the smoke babe too. Because that, I mean, at the end of the day, if Millies gets that kill, he's not necessarily forced to push farther in without the smoke, without the toxic gas going off. So big play to Amp despite dying there. The early presence from Snake and the kill onto Rai really round changing too, because Burnt Turkey, he dies with I think the only set of nades on the attack that could have been used from below. Rai no longer able to pressure out study. Couldn't even open the wall because of the Wamai disc catching all of his Selma. So all around, much better defense from S2. You're right, they did leave trophy completely vacant, but I think stacking those players in study really paid off.
I mean, well, even though they left it completely open, Snake was still just such a nuisance on the roam, just kind of flirting that pressure onto red stairs, going down into the basement. So you would have to commit pretty deep to go get him. So just the fact that he's just kind of in the back of their minds, just kind of like, is he here, or is he just kind of going for a late flank later on? It's something that Rebels had to kind of constantly think about. So even though there was less roaming presence on that side of the map, Snake was still such a nuisance, and it really proved to be effective because of just a great adaptation from S2.
I like the Mute Mozzie combo coming out again. The info game from Rebels really punished S2 last time. They tried to send 3 players towards this study roam. Every single one of them got spotted out and dealt with accordingly and efficiently. Now they've got the jammers, they've got the pests. They're hoping that HK Rebels at the very least are slowed down, if not able to get picks off of them because of the drone denial.
Well, like you mentioned, just the drone game was so good in this last time we saw this bomb site, because early minute of the round, so 3 people were already dead, and it really came down to just all those drones getting so much info onto those players, and just a little bit of just lack of awareness from S2 and just realizing that they were so far up. But now, because of, like you mentioned, the Mute and Mozzie, it's just going to try to mitigate the amount of intel that really Rebels can get throughout the round. But they are kind of making up for a little bit of the Lion and trying to see if Doug can clear out some of that utility just to make this clear a little bit easier.
Bolstering our defenses.
I'm curious as to why HK Rebels are going for a full master take. Maybe they figured the drone denial was too much and they didn't want to risk pushing into the realm. They're going to have a lot less control going for this site push if all 5 players are here. Vipoa at the very least is down below, working with the nades, but they might not even need it. Packrat swings the breach. Doug will catch him. First kill goes the way of HK Rebels. More utility being sent into the site. Reverse trying to take up the mantle that his teammate has now left vacated. Catches Doug unaware. Vipoa taking damage downstairs as well. The C4 misses from Wi-Fi. Reaggresses with the shotgun. Vipoa is long gone. Now trying to rejoin his team upstairs. Reverse and Amp tack on. Despite the low HP, Reverse is going for more. But Rai in the sight. Wraps around, catches Reverse. Snake on the floor. Vipoa traded out. It's a 1 versus 2. Winnable for Rai if he looks the right way, which he does, but he does not win the fight. Amp is better with the SMG-11, and S2 tie the score.
Well, it just seemed that really in that moment, HK Rebels, like you mentioned, just did not have a lot of control, and just unfortunately, S2 just read that and just swung out because they just were not covering the bricks doorway, and just because of that, just lost a lot of bodies. Doug got good entrance into the closet area, but just immediately just giving up his life immediately afterwards, just like I just not really watching that doorway is just really painful, because that is something you really need to watch, because you should know that someone's going to be trying to swing that later on. But a mixture of just not watching certain angles and just not really getting a lot of map control just really hurt Rebels in that actual clear.
Finally, we'll see Dining played for the first time. And just to see how the pacing goes for HK Rebels here. The cap can being donned once again by S2. Only it's Snake playing him now. Plenty of C4 coverage with 2. Plenty of shields as well with 3. Only 2 different pieces of secondary utility for the defense. That's not something you often see. Usually there's at the very least maybe one set of barbed wire, a pair of impacts, even a bulletproof, but they'll forego all of that just for more shields, which again are not going to be covered by an Aruni, OMI, or a Jaeger. So sure, they have 3 shields, but just like we saw in round number 1, they're a bit naked. If HK Rebels are efficient with their utility, then those shields are not going to have any impact.
Well, Packrat and Reverse just seem to be trying to make sure that nobody can really move up these stairs outside, but nobody from Rebels is actually pressuring that, but it does seem they're trying to go for a bit more of a direct take, just kind of trying to see if they can do a little bit better in the Master Clear, unlike last time, which is going to be a bit easier because there's not as much utility placed up there as last time, but still, it's just going to be a pain, because now Packrat is possibly looking to see if he can catch someone repelling off guard.
Not finding anyone, though. All the attackers for now avoiding the angle. I like the redundancy between the Buck and the Sledge for HK Rebels. Not only will their vertical destruction be very efficient, but they've got a replacement just in case one of them gets C4'd as well. Reverse narrowly evades the shots from Millies as he heads through that master doorway. Burnt Turkey now flexing onto the Zofia too. So you got plenty of entry power, plenty of verticality as well for the attack, but they still haven't fully taken this top floor. Even so, the Sledge will work his way into bathroom, start opening that vert. The whole minute 30 remaining, and again, both the Buck and the Sledge, I expect there to be at least 1 kill through the floor. And there it is. Bipolar onto Amp, the smoke now dead, and a big performer off the table for S2.
Well, that's just going to be the smoke base down and for the count. No more plant denial outside of the C4s, which there's still 2 of them on the board. But interestingly, S2 is still looking to get pretty aggressive and just kind of stay in pretty aggressive positions, but not really doing anything with it. They're kind of just sitting passively over in 90 and red stairs, but not really trying to pressure Rebels. So now they're just opening up all these angles onto the bomb site. But giving all the pseudo pressure is just not really going to do anything if you can't counteract this push. And now just Rebels is just going to do whatever they want, but Snake is just going to try to see if he can finally do something about it.
Doesn't look like HK Rebels know he's here yet either. And the time is dwindling. 25 seconds remaining, and he's going to be able to get a freebie. He looks the wrong way! No, Snake! He had a freebie in the palm of his hands, but he second-guessed himself. He did a double take, and that gives Dag the opportunity for 1 and 2 kills. A second on reverse. Wi-Fi drops the case, though. That could be the round-winning kill. If only this last player saves, Packrat takes the fight, and he loses it to Doug. 3 kills for the Twitch, and the lead once again for HK Rebels.
Man, just unfortunate, because Snake almost kind of just second-guessed himself in that final second, which, I mean, happens. You don't always expect someone to be completely in solar, but just, unfortunately, just missed that one opportunity, which could have really turned the tides in that round. That one player who could have just, killing that one player would have made Rebels kind of second-guess their entire roam clear and just make sure that they have to now look to make sure that Snake can't pressure them from above as they drop down into sight. But because he missed that opportunity, now everyone from Rebels can drop down and explode onto sight and kill those players who are trying to deny that plant. And just that one tiny slip up just really cost S2 in that final minute of that round.
S2 Esports will go back to Aviator and Games. This time with a Goyo. I appreciate the operator carousel that all 5 members of S2 have been playing. I guess with the exception of Amp, who's on smoke like 5 out of the 6 rounds. The play here with much more entry denial at their fingertips. The Melusi, the Smoke, and the Goyo all comboing. It's going to be tough for HK Rebels to get into the site as long as S2 Esports keep the man count competitive. Burnt Turkey as well no longer on Flores, instead playing the Nomad, looking to lock down those flanks and make it so that Snake, in particular, should he be running around the bottom floor, won't be nearly as much of a headache. Rai as well on Hibana, maybe figuring if they're going to stack up those Wamai discs, he'll play a hard breacher that can surpass them.
Yeah, just a really good adaptation for Rai. Just realizing that Wamai was such a pain last time. Let me just switch over to someone that can't really deal with it. And Wi-Fi on the roam, already asserting his presence and killing Millie super early on. That's going to be Zofia off the board super early. So that's going to be, even though there's not a whole lot of shields up for S2, that's going to be really tricky to deal with later on because they only have 1 nade left in pocket from Vipoa.
Yep.
Attackers recovered the diffuser.
And not only is there the shield, there's also a BP from the Melusi. There's Banshees to destroy. There's a second shield from Packrat. There's Goyo canisters that now you're going to have to shoot. So a whole lot of destructible utility. HK Rebels really needed every piece they could get. Luckily, they've got Doug. Doug can do away with the BP and those Goyo canisters now, thanks to Twitch's buff. She can pop them. That also requires the Twitch to actually get into the objective. And S2 have plenty of members to stop that from happening. A nade down below, the final nade from Vipoa. Sorry, it seemed to just be on the red stairs. Deals a lot of damage, but no kill. Wi-Fi is able to get away from red stairs. Not scot-free, but still living, and that's what counts. There's another body into sight that they can use, another crossfire to establish, and another person to shoot the utility, those Goyo canisters, once the attackers try to funnel in. Packrat, though, gets a little over-aggressive. Burnt Turkey shuts him down, and the man count now is even.
Well, that's just going to make it a little bit easier for Rebels to actually move on to the bomb site now that Packrat's not going to be asserting pressure in study or the game's area. So that's just going to be an unfortunate kill going for the favor of Rebels, but still wasting a lot of time. Only 45 seconds left, and Rebels don't really have a whole lot of control, only just now popping that little hallway shield, or Goyo canister, I mean, and they still don't have, like, really vault open, so really, they're just don't have a whole lot of pressure to deal with at the moment.
Looks like Burnt Turkey might want to rotate out of Skull Window to join the Hibana. Flashes going in, but he doesn't have much of an avenue, and there it is, all that utility coming through, denying the entry, and Amp in reverse, just lock it out. There's the Banshee, the Smoke comboing just to get that C4 from below. 2 kills from Wi-Fi, showing just how important it was for HK Rebels to kill him on red. The nade leaving him alive, really punishing them, and the half ends up tied.
Well, I mean, just really good adaptation from S2 to just kind of read into what Rebels were trying to do their entire time attacking that bomb site. They wanted to go for a split take for almost the entire game at this point. So just reading, okay, well, we just need to deal with the guy in study. Okay, we've done that successfully. Now we just have to deal with the rest of the players. And they've done that successfully too, because they've established good enough roam presence to kind of stall them out for a good chunk of time. So they don't really have a whole lot of room to deal with in actually pushing onto the bomb site and just carrying out all that utility. So then it just kind of just leaves Rebels asking themselves, what can we really do aside from just walk in? Because we haven't dealt with anything. But, I mean, now we go into the side switch, and Rebels can possibly do the same thing to S2 now that they're on their own defense on games.
Let's see if they can turn up on the defense. Right, like I said, is pretty much going to be that hard breach smoke player, but it looks like we are going to have to rehost due to server issues. The server is dying, and of course, well, we're going to have to remake the lobby. So we love this game. We're going to go to a short break, though, while we get everyone situated, while we remake the lobby, invite everyone, get the score back. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back as soon as the lobby is remade, and we're back in game.
So there you go. Looking at it too, I like the potential, maintenance of this aggressive tempo that we've been seeing. These are all operators that could very much push and get aggressive. Floofs, of course, has not gone for the MP5K, has gone for the shotgun, but interesting too, a lot of anti-drone in this setup. The two prominent anti-drone operators in here. So Average Joe's intel gathering ability, should they choose to engage in droning, which as responsible Sheets players they should do. But if they choose to engage in it, they're going to have a hard time about it, Slay. This is not going to be a particularly easy walk in the park for them, and I think that enables Homeland to play that much more aggressive. I think they're going to be looking for some early kills here, kind of pushed up on the edges of the map.
Yeah, whenever you think about that drone denial, you always just kind of go back to the good old days on Clubhouse where you see that SSG strat roam. You've got all the drone hate,
Yeah.
and you can really do, just like you were saying, some good roaming and some really good aggressive plays here. Hacker does get the dot on Snipey. Could be in some trouble here. The Orc's gonna have to find a way out or into an engagement as he still looks out that hole in the window. A lot of drone work still happening. We're just a minute into the round, so they're trying to get as much information as possible before they start making that push. Hacker gets domed by Racky to start things off. Average Joe's now taking a couple more gunfights here. Engage down around 25 HP.
Well, Snipey's day isn't getting any better despite that early kill. Still in a very unfavorable position right here as he's ducking up and down behind the desk near CTDV, but he's got backup. Rivals getting in on the action, though, in another location. The Peroni roars. Snipey gets in on it, too, and suddenly the Average Joe's attack is just eviscerated. There's nothing left. Jabrock will get one kill onto Zez, so finally gives the player the death that they have been waiting for. Jabrock continuing to try and fight it out, won't get it. It was a valiant effort there at the end, but man, the Homeland defense here, Slay, is looking mighty fearsome indeed.
Yeah, just after that one round, and that's 4 in a row now that they're building up, and it's what we're talking about in a best of one. This kind of momentum can just close a game out so quickly. Average Joes have got to get moving. We're 2 rounds away from this game being all but wrapped up. They're going to head to Bathroom Tellers now for their second defensive round. And this is going to be really telling, right? This is such an important spot here for the Average Joes to jump in and put an absolute hold on the domination that Homeland has set up here. We'll have to see if they have the right position to do it. The defense does change a little bit, but a lot of those operators remain. Both of those same drone hate ops come back again. But this time, a Doc joins us with Snipey. We'll have to see if that's going to be a real benefit to the team.
Love drone hate as a term. That I really appreciate that. Sounds like something out of Terminator. Like the humans that are left, they're a bunch of drone haters. I mean, they would be at that stage. But interesting, by the way, Wozy switching over to the Fuse here. So Fuse will make an appearance in this lineup. I mean, okay, Fuse is not always bad, but I just don't know if that's the play I would be making, Slay, here. But again, I'm not competing in SCS quals, so I don't know if I get to talk on that front necessarily. Interesting too, the Homeland Esports lineup remaining largely the same. Snipey, though, swapping around to get that Doc in, so they want that healing stim and they want that gun, and both of them very valuable indeed. It's gonna take, I think, a little while here for Average Joes to determine exactly how they want to pick this apart. I think they really need to emphasize a methodical push here, though. They got to clear out CCTV, establish the verticality and what have you, and losing Mendez early on to a nitro cell, well, that's not going to help with any of that.
Homeland has been so on top of getting these opening kills, and even when they don't, they're able to bring it back. So with Mendez dead, yeah, it definitely doesn't bode well for Average Joes. They're going to have to fight that much.
And we're up.
We're back. Oh, great. Well, Unfortunately, we're having to go back to another break, so we'll be right back.
Let's go.
Woo!
To take care of sooner than later. Great work, though, getting in there, putting it right back to the 4v4, gives them an even playing ground, and now Rival tries to jump in there, taking down Engage. Hacker right back with the refrag, a 3v3.
Keeping it very tight here, but Wozy still not in position yet to drop those fuse charges. I debate whether they'd actually be effective at this point in time, though certainly that seems to be what Average Joes are angling for. Indeed, the entire effort they're making here is to get Wozy into a position where he can use those on the bomb site. They might be sorely disappointed, though. There are not a lot of defenders actually stuck up on those sites. If they go quickly, they might actually be able to use this to their advantage without sacrificing too much, but Hacker will throw down the flat pack charge and drop through the hash. That was such a smooth transition. I thought we were still watching the ace there for a second, but we are not. Raki here on the low ground actually should hear that drop. Checks over towards the window, barely sees the top of the head. Wozy engaging in a short little gun battle, but neither of them finding an advantage.
Less than 40 seconds to go. You've got those defenders holding it down, but the defuser is being planted by the ace. Wozy holding an angle outside is going to be so big and finds a shot onto Raki. Now the 3v2. Zez trying to creep around, might be caught on that left side here. Focused on looking towards that window, trying to find out where the fuse is playing. Snipey lays down some shots. Zez does have an idea, picks it up to the 2v2, doesn't get the second. It's going to be Hacker fighting that one. The 2v1, Snipey, all that's left. Does have that MP5, but doesn't have a life as Jabrock finishes the round, and Average Joes put a stop to the homeland run.
Good play there from Average Joes on the tail end of that round. I love the fact that they were very methodical about it. It wasn't necessarily the way that I expected them to go about it, but Manslade, did they go about it in a good way? They obtained the verticality that they needed. They decided that the fuse was not really what they wanted, but they still kept those murder holes and held them, which is what enabled such an effective plant situation right there. So good post-plant defense, good setup by the Average Joes. They need more of that in their tank if they want to get the edge on homeland here, but I don't know that it's going to go any easier for them. The problem is, now that they've shown that plan and they haven't really shown any signs of changing it, homeland should be able to counteract that relatively effectively. A couple of interesting additions to this defensive lineup might actually be coming out with that in mind, Slay. They've got Raki on the Valkyrie and they've got Snipey here on the Captain. They've also brought Floofs on the Frost, so a lot of traps in this homeland defense.
Yeah, Valkyrie is one of those operators that almost constantly gets banned, so for her to sneak through, definitely good to take advantage of using those black eye cameras. Doesn't bring out the C4 this time. It's going to be those impact nades. You do have two other C4s being brought with Rival and Snipey, playing on the Mozzie and that cap can you were mentioning. So you have a couple more trap ops here. Could be exactly what they need as they go back to that same site. It really can be a mistake when you don't think about what you're doing to change. But with this composition, it might be exactly what they need. Snipey waiting and ready, but Floos and Raki already taking quite a bit of damage, and that doesn't bode very well. Average Joes, all they have to do is find a couple of kills, and we've seen how quick it can snowball into a win. Easier said than done, but it's definitely been done by Average Joes before, and they need to keep that up here if they don't want to go to match point.
Well, Lion still has 3 pings in the pocket here. Engage could...
Now we're back for real this time. Right? Can we get a ping check?
Yes.
Please. Can we get a ping check? Max. I don't know, maybe he can't hear us.
I don't think he can.
Yeah, we're good.
Woo!
All right, no more rehosts, I hope. By the way, it's 3-3. The score is tied. We just finished the half. HK Rebels are on their first defense, and we are in AVG. So we kind of started to see the setup before the server died, and it seemed like HK Rebels were going to have some sort of roam presence towards trophy and stat. They were going to extend all the way across the top floor. They don't have any C4s, so I don't imagine there'll be much going on from below, especially because S2 only have one set of nades as well, with first swapping off of Iana onto Ashe. I'm interested to see, though, how they use the Ying. Not a terribly common. I mean, she's used on this site, but not terribly common because there's a lot of steps you have to go through before you can use the Ying here. Hopefully, Amp is going to have the survivability to actually get down to that execute phase while still having plenty of Candelas left.
Well, like you mentioned, I do wonder if they're just going to go for a more standard roam clear, try to meet these roamers of Rebels head on. It does seem that Reverse and someone else from S2 is going to be doing that, but we do see Amp positioning himself over onto the study belt, kind of doing something I think similar to Rai Rai in the first couple of rounds on this bomb site, trying to just assert his pressure over on that part of the map, kind of just distract Rebels and make sure they always have to have some gun looking at that. But really, it's been kind of a slow start. Everyone from S2 is kind of spread out, just kind of positioning themselves all over, just trying to see what avenues they can really just work their way up and try to deal with these roamers, as it does seem they're kind of going from down below.
And Amp just had a Candela eaten up by an ADS, I guess to make way for smokes instead. Candelas end up coming through after, but there's no play off of it. He just kind of threw utility in with no follow-up, and now he's gonna run away. Snake is coming up red, and the retreating Amp dies for our first frag in the round.
Well, the Ying that you highlighted very early on is already gone, and not really much usage of it other than just a bit of a distraction, but S2 has already lost 2 players, especially that Ying and Dokkaebi, but now Rebels have essentially kind of fallen back into sight. One roamer is still running down below, but he's moving his way back up to the bomb site, and now minute 30 off the clock. And that's kind of just really been it. The roam clear is now gone, and now you have to deal with all the pressure on site, and now you don't have any burns to actually deal with any shields that may be in your way.
Yeah, Snake used Snake used his Gone 6. Maybe they can use the Ashes breaching rounds to burn, and that can make way for the nades, or vice versa. But, yeah, like you said, they're going to have to sacrifice some utility. Snake is going to try and hard breach Vault. There's an impact to respond, though, through the drone hole instead of over top of the wall, and now there's no more hard breach either. There's a player playing on the shield. I believe that's Doug. Qualifier is trying to send a nade in from below. He'll make a hole wide enough. Up it comes. And it's immediately eaten by an ADS. Because of course it is. There's ADSs on that door almost always. Reverse will deal with one, but there's also Wamidus to follow up. So now they're really out of options to clear that shield. Luckily for them, no one's playing on it, but it's still something they're going to have to worry about should a defender swing study. Now with only 15 seconds left, Rai Rai does run out of smokes. S2 are available to try and swing on in, but Doug comes in for one. Wi-Fi, a team kill for a second, and he'll pay the price with his life. Vipoa finishes the round, and HK Rebels retake the lead.
I'm trying to think, what was the initial plan? Because we saw Ying of Amp.
Yeah, I don't really know what that Ying
on the
was doing.
study belt, but didn't really do a whole lot. He kind of just threw his smokes in, threw Ying Candela over to main. That was kind of it.
And then dipped. Left
and then just immediately dipped and died.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know what the plan was, because like clearly they wanted to go for a bit of a different kind of bottom up clear to deal with those roamers. Didn't really get a whole lot out of it. In fact, you kind of lost another person because of it. And now you have no utility left for the actual clear onto site. And you struggled so hard to deal with the shield. Now you have to just walk right on into the crossfire. And that was the round. So just really weird take from S2. And I'm just not sure I want to see it again.
Yeah, I can agree with that. That was odd. Luckily, there's no Ying in play this time. We got the Nomad coming out from Packrat, a role he has played for a very long time. See how they stack up on trophy and stat. Amp now flexing onto the Ace rather than that Ying. Rai donning the Frost. So the attackers are going to have to watch their feet should they jump through those windows. We've got a Mira in play too. Not often do we see a Mira, on Villa in general, considering it's not her strongest map because of all the most of the useful walls that you're going to put her windows on are directly above or beneath soft floors, and you just deny it using the vertical. But she does have her uses. This is a decent site for her, and she brings an additional C4.
Yeah, but now we're just kind of just seeing all of Rebels kind of just evacuate from the Aviator Games area, realizing that there's just a lot of pressure coming out from S2. They're all 5 members of the roster kind of just over here. So now they just realize, okay, we just need to fall back. Don't really need to deal with him too much. Just kind of hold our crosses over on red. We do see Ryra get smoked off, light each other up. That might be the first engagement we really see.
Really, the only engagement, the only damage traded, but there's a C4 to follow up. Burnt Turkey, the Mira playing downstairs, finishes off the low HP Snake. Good kill to give the man advantage to his team. Reverse and Wi-Fi now trying to pinch onto Boar here. The shotgun player, Doug, dips past the doorway as Millies finds another kill onto Packrat, killing the Nomad. Shield still up in sight from Rai as well. And not a lot to deal with at Reverse with only one grenade, I guess, from the launcher still remaining. Wi-Fi's got nades, but he's not in a position to use them yet. He's still downstairs. He could get it in from below, but his entire team is crumbling up above. Reverse, the next to hit the deck. A 1-pump from Doug to get his second kill. And now Wi-Fi, the man with nades from below, without having thrown a single nade, finds himself in a 1v5, and he can do nothing against the almighty Doug. 3 kills for the SAS player, and 5-3 for HK Rebels.
Well, it just seemed that S2 didn't really do a whole lot to actually deal with any of those roamers. They kind of just let him fall back super quickly, not really quickly following up on the utility usage and opening up the Aviator wall. Is like we saw only one player walking up the library hall, Book's hallway, essentially, and that was kind of it. That was the only form of pressure. And then at that point, Rebels can kind of just sit back, hold their crosses, and just use the C4s that we saw to such great effect, because they know they only have a few certain ways that they can come from. So C4s are just going to be really good because they only stand in certain doorways. So just really not great attacks starting off for S2, because they're just kind of just being very slow about things, not really taking a whole lot of ground, and not really utilizing their utility and just coordination to great effect at the moment.
Wi-Fi now hopping on the Lion, figuring HK Rebels. We're looking a little too fluid. What's common with that line, you can really get some use out of the verticality, but they'll lose the verticality in favor of a Nomad and an IQ. They've got 2 sets of breaching charges, though, which is all well and good. But you're really going to have to be careful of that pulse. Millie's here, gathering info, and he'll be supported by both Rai and Vipoa. S2 are going to have to be careful should they clear above. Early EMP and early ace charge comes out, though, and it's quickly dealt with because Millies is playing on this staircase, and he's even got a shotgun. So now, Amp, a bit useless on this position. He can't do anything, and hearing the drone, the C4 goes up, but it's shot just in time. Amp retreats, and that's a C4 wasted.
And that's 2 Selma charges gone, so he only has 1 left to open up any sort of hard wall in later parts of the round. So that's just not really good utility usage and not really doing due diligence to make sure that Millies isn't even down there. And now Millies has gotten so much information for free, essentially, because no one's dealing with him. The IQ is essentially just now going to get him, but he has to deal with the shotgun of the Pulse. That may spell disaster in Reverse here.
Versus playing it very carefully. He'll pop up in the barricade. Millies gets aggressive, but the angle works in Reverse's favor. Packrat getting a roamer and the last remaining C4 upstairs with Vipoa falling. Burnt Turkey searching for the refrag, but instead it's Doug to fall. Rai has to retake into sight. He gets one, but there's 2 people waiting in Memo, and Burnt Turkey finds himself now alone as his entire team has crumbled. Nice shot on the Wi-Fi to bring us down to a 1 versus 3. Still a lot of work to do. Peek from Snake just jiggling around the bomb chassis as Burnt Turkey's now full blind. He'll rush over towards China, evading shots from inside the bomb site. There's someone encroaching on his position from, I believe, the dining area. Plant now going down. The shot landed on Packrat though, and we're in a 1 versus 2. Plant will be completed by Reverse. Both he and Snake on 3 speeds. They can get to that post-plant position pretty quickly. Reverse does not allow Burnt Turkey in through Memo. The Frost choosing the wrong position to look at. And unfortunately, the clutch attempt will stop at 3 kills. S2 finally get a round back.
Well, it just seemed that the actual setup on the actual bomb site was very weak from the Rebels. They don't have a whole lot of utility to actually hold it very well. And I think that really showed in that round because they finally got that kitchen wall open from laundry pantry. Eventually, after dealing with melees down below, but then just everyone else from Rebels just has to kind of hold the site gun up because there's no utility to help assist the hold. So just very weak setup on the bomb site, and just on top of not really utilizing that information they gathered from melees very well, just did not look very good in that round. Finally, S2 looked a lot better on their attacks going into that round.
HK Rebels got to figure out a way to make these defenses work consistently. Luckily, they'll be going back to AVG. Got plenty of utility to stop S2 from moving in, and they'll also bring Bandit. Bit of an odd pick with Cade still up and a Thatcher banned. Maybe Doug is planning on tricking. Maybe he just wants the MP7. That could also be possible.
It's up too, so that's also interesting.
Yeah, choosing a bandit over both of those is a bit odd. But hey, you know, in a position like Red Stairs, maybe he just wants the MP7. Better for those close quarter engagements.
Yeah, definitely going to be so, because that's a high fire rate weapon. Pretty good gun overall, even for an operator that's kind of dwindled in his presence over the last couple of years, really. But it does seem that Packrat's going to try to see if he can deal with the presence on the main stairs with this Flores. Is able to get one Banshee get destroyed. Reverse may have to deal with the spawn peek from Burnt Turkey over the Master. Does not connect for either person, but so far, pretty slow take as S2 is just looking to clear out all this utility.
They're also looking to clear out the not bottom floor, but the first floor. There's a couple roamers waiting for them, and there's even angles from above. Millie's through a floor hole, gets the first kill on to Reverse. Burnt Turkey far and away from these upstairs attackers, looking to play for the flank. Great impact usage from Vipoa as well to take care of Packrat's last Rotero drone. That shield's going to have to be dealt with by these nades now, and Snake is using them to try and play Vert. Rai is standing on top of the bar. He can't get hit by one of those nades. Wi-Fi is down there as well, but they're aware of Burnt Turkey. Snake slaps him down. Millie's is the next to go, but not before he gets another kill. Vipoa refrags Wi-Fi to keep the man advantage in his team's favor. And now it's Amp and Snake. 2 versus 3. Amp upstairs outside study. Snake down below, trying to play off those nades, which he has no more of. He'll have to come upstairs and reconsolidate with his teammates. Vipoa playing over by main. Doug positioned on red. This is the fight he's been looking for. Close range with the MP7. Doesn't pull the trigger in time. Snake gets the better of him. And the angle nearly catches Vipoa. The shield's still up, but no one playing behind it. Everyone, I say everyone, but both players from HK Rebels either in Vault or in Bar. Iana Clone coming in, gathering more info, but shot before it can really see anything. That allows Rai to start to push up with the shotgun. In the Banshee, Snake is a sitting duck, and Amp finds himself alone in a 1 versus 2 to stave off match point. Looks the wrong way. Damaged by Rai, who starts to fall off towards red. Knows he can play for the time with only 20 seconds remaining. Does not want to allow Amp afforded 2 1v1s, but he comes in, shoots the ace in the back, and it's match point for HK Rebels.
It just seemed that HK Rebels realized that they kind of just maybe over-aggressed a little bit in that last round, kind of swung out a little too early, not really playing off information very well. So this time they kind of played a little bit closer to sight, kind of just hold their angles. Really nice usage of those floor holes by Millies in particular in that round. Just really secured this man advantage throughout the round. And just really good usage of utility just to make sure that it was very tough for S2 to try to move on to any part of the map. And just because of the constant roam pressure by Burnt Turkey, just made S2 have to constantly be on a swivel, making sure they had really good flank watch up and running.
The Mira coming into play once again, which something S2 struggled to deal with. The Roam also not really being clear. The C4 presence was there for HK Rebels, really, except for that dining round. HK Rebels have been on top of their game concerning their defensive half.
10 seconds
S2 Esports have yet to consistently crack the code.
5 seconds remaining.
Only won that dining site, and even then, I mean, it was dominant up to a point.
Attackers' objective is to locate
Burnt
a
Turkey
bomb
did
and
bring it close, and he's playing maybe downstairs again.
We're ready for company.
It looks like
No?
he actually moved on
No,
up.
he's
He's
going
going
back up.
actually
Okay.
back up to site. He's going to put down that last mirror window now that
Yes.
they know where the push is coming in.
He might also play for a late rotate as well for that C4.
But yeah, now that that mirror window is down onto the statuary wall, because they know all of S2's just kind of positioned themselves for a master direct take, they can just put that mirror window facing directly into that push. So now they're going to have to find a way to deal with it. And they do have, I believe, an ace to try to take care of that, but no actual EMPs to try to get clear out that mute jammer on the wall. And like you mentioned, Burnt Turkey is going to be down below, possibly for a late C4 play.
He's being hunted down there. There's someone in bike, it looks like, and they're going to catch him. Packrat deals with Burnt Turkey very early on, and that was a big C4 that helped win the round for HK Rebels. Banshee as well, placed in the range of Wi-Fi so he can shoot it without having to fully ascend up the stairs. Millie's aware of someone on red. It's Packrat who just got the kill on his teammate. The Malusi's looking for the fight, and he misses the shots and loses it to Packrat. Wi-Fi gets a follow-up on the Vipoa. 5 versus 2. HK Rebels extension not working out.
Just really just kind of over-aggressed a little bit too much, and now they've lost so many bodies, it's now down to a 1v4. Doug is trying to see if he can go for a C4 play down below, but it may be a little bit too late. He does have a lot of pings, though. He can't deny this if he has the right intel. Does get one onto reverse, but that plant is still being able to be put down.
Staring at the same ping that he just C4'd. Doug, I'm sorry to say the plant is not going down there. Seem to be starved of info after that C4. Can't land the shot on the player on the carpet Overwatch. That's Wi-Fi now down to half HP, and as he hits the reload, Snake takes advantage. Much better round from S2 as they clean up those roamers and body their way onto site.
Well, it just seems to be that's the common theme for HK Rebels in this game. Once they go down pretty early, they try to over-aggress to try to keep it even. But then they start losing more and more bodies, so now it's so much tougher for the site players to actually hold on to the bomb site. And we saw that perfectly because the lone Frost on site just had to deal with pretty much everyone rotating through bathroom into solar and just could not deal with anything. And now Doug was just left in a 1v4, was able to get one kill, but it was essentially meaningless because he was immediately killed right after.
bombs as they can.
Okay. I think Burnt Turkey is going to go for the exact same thing now. I hope something changes. I would prefer him to maybe have support downstairs. Maybe over towards living room to stop someone from simply waltzing through bike and killing him. I don't know.
Wait, they do have a Malusi, so it could give him a little bit more awareness, but
Yeah, maybe allocate one of those Banshees downstairs.
yeah.
I'm not sure. S2, S2 may be a bit of a pug stack, but they're all pretty experienced players. I don't think the exact same thing now 3 times in a row is necessarily going to work.
Well, it does seem that S2 is kind of going for a very similar take, so maybe HK Rebels will finally adapt and just kind of realize that they just kind of did a little too much in that last round. But Millies is already looking to get pretty aggressive onto this player right above, but
There we
once
go.
again, Wi-Fi just down below, going for that same kind of down below take. It's going to be looking like it's going to be the same kind of take, and Burnt Turkey is down on low HP and has everything to do down on the basement.
Burnt Turkey is also very lit up as the Mira once again playing downstairs. Wi-Fi is on the hunt. You can see them kind of playing ring around the Rosie on that staircase as he chases him up. Astro right into the rappel. Perfectly played by S2. The C4 coming out last second for Burnt Turkey, trying to get a Hail Mary kill to make his way up Astro, but shot out by Reverse. And now it's a 3 versus 5. S2 have been wise to the tricks of HK Rebels the past couple rounds. Doug now on an island, sitting inside of the closet. His barricade falls away and the shotgun not shot. Doug goes down. Packrat another onto Rai. He needed to win that 1v1. Vipoa gets the trade, but it is not enough. S2 bring us to overtime.
Well, Rebels tried to adapt. They did send Millies downstairs with Burnt Turkey to try to help him hold down that bottom floor take. And it was just, he just got caught unaware because they didn't realize that Wi-Fi was just entered into the basement like he did the last 3 times they saw that bomb site. So just not really getting a good read onto S2 just meant the same thing essentially happened once more. We lose bodies early. We now try to get over aggressive to try to make up for it and then immediately die. And now it's up to the site players to try to do everything, but they can't. And so just not really good adaptations coming out from Rebels. But we are seeing a bomb site that they've been doing a lot better on. So it's just going to be really up to S2 to try to see if they can break the cycle of this bomb site.
You should see what Doug does on Oryx. I always wonder about player decisions like that. Like, Doug, like this operator has not been played all map, and now we're heading into overtime. We're on AVG, a site that HK Rebels have won consistently. So I wonder what the play. Why Doug is like, yes, now I will play Oryx. He is on the other side of the map though, so I mean, if he wants to full map roam, Oryx is the perfect operator to do it with. But he does miss out on some utility that HK Rebels have played with on this site. So who knows? He's down in the basement, and will probably his sole purpose for playing Oryx is probably to play for a late flank.
That's probably just going to be what it is, so he can just move around the map super quickly. But no one's going down to the basement this time, Doug. That's not the exact same take they've been going for this entire time. They're going for a more direct approach, possibly going down below. So ultimately, right now, Doug's not really doing much to help his team, but Millies is going to get aggressive onto 90, just misses out on the head of Amp, and now that vault wall is open and top of HK Rebels already being down a man.
Not a great start for their AVG defense. Burnt Turkey gets a trade, but he does lose a lot of HP for it. Snake the next to fall before Vipoa is instantly refragged by Amp, now taking control of those main stairs. Packrat in the meantime pushed all the way up Study, and he's looking for the kill on a Burnt Turkey who's trying to come back in through Skull. He's aware of the Study presence though, not rotating back just yet. Wi-Fi is by far and away the least tradable member of the team. A Packrat and Amp, that doesn't matter. They just come in and they clean up the site. They just destroy everyone. Nobody on HK Rebels seems to be capable of winning gunfights consistently anymore. They had the firepower, and ever since those 2 rounds from S2, they've just been dominating.
Well, that's now 3 rounds in a row for S2, clearly recognizing what Rebels' game plan is and just really adapting super well to it. Rebels just not really having any answers. They haven't had any for the last 3 rounds, just kind of trying to do the same thing and brute forcing those refrags. Kind of saw it a bit, but then just lost too many bodies over in Study and just main, so they were able to just walk right on up into the bomb site and just kind of converge onto that last player. So ultimately, just like, we're not really seeing Rebels adapt super well. And now, seeing Aviator Games, they did do pretty well on this bomb site when S2 was on defense, so they still have a chance of equalizing it out and putting it awesome to round 15, but it's going to be really difficult because, like you were mentioning, they haven't been really connecting with their guns right now.
And I'm worried because look at all the frickin' utility S2 has.
5 seconds left before
They've got the shield, they've got the BP, Mutant Mozzie to deny drones, which has been HK Rebels' strong point. And a Goyo and a Malusi. HK Rebels really struggled with the utility-focused site setup last time. See how they deal with it this time. And, well, I don't know why, but they have 6 claymores. I feel like that's probably a mistake from Burnt Turkey, considering he could have brought EMPs or smokes.
Well, that's...
What?
And...
They,
well,
yeah, they
one
have
nade
6
gone.
claymores.
And a nade's already gone, so one more bit of just clearing out the utilities now going to be gone. Doesn't seem that anyone's aware that Snake is actually down in Laundry. Could get a nice C4 kill onto Vipoa. Actually, one drone did spot out Snake, so he's going to be retreating, but he does have help from Wi-Fi down below. So if anyone tries to go secure that kill onto him, they're also going to have to deal with Wi-Fi. But right now, Rebels is taking this very slowly. Just seems to be really cautious take out of them, not really wanting to make too many mistakes, especially on overtime match point.
They made it into the building successfully. There's 2 players down below, Wi-Fi and Snake, who both have C4s. Millies and Vipoa staying dangerously still. Luckily for them, S2 Esports aren't operating with a ton of info. That BP is probably stuck inside the site. So the C4 is probably largely going to be blind / aided by sound. And Burnt Turkey leads off the round with a kill onto Packrat. Mozzie thinking he could get cheeky with it on the window, ends up paying the price, and they lose a C4.
Well, that's already just going to be one C4 gone. Ultimately, not really able to use those Mozzie drones, but still, once again, doesn't seem that there's actually any flank drones coming out from HK Rebels. Snake could go for a really big flank right now. Don't see actually where he is, or if anyone's close by. Wi-Fi is actually really close by. They can converge onto these players.
And there we go. The freebie from Snake instantly traded by Vipoa. Millie's the next to fall. And we find ourselves in a 3 versus 3 thanks to Snake's flank. But there's someone in main lobby, Burnt Turkey, with the perfect timed peek. Snake goes down, but Reverse is there to clap Doug. And look at Burnt Turkey and Vipoa. They're so low on HP. Reverse repositioning now as Burnt Turkey goes up towards Study. A brilliant shot from Reverse catches Vipoa, and Burnt Turkey goes down. Reverse, 4 kills, and HK Rebels get shut out. A sparkling defensive half. Or sorry, sparkling defensive rounds in overtime from S2 Esports. And I thought I had high expectations for HK Rebels. They could not meet them, and S2 claim a spot enclosed.
It's just towards the end of the game, just Rebels just looked like they were kind of very static in the way they really handled S2's takes and just defensive holds, and just was not able to really adapt to anything that they put towards their actual hold, and just kind of just fell apart. They were able to make that last round really close, but just due to the fact that they did not deal with any of those roamers, just really just looked kind of just like, just looked really rough towards the end there for Rebels.
Yeah, it seemed like as the game went on and S2 learned more about them, HK Rebels stopped winning fights consistently and were caught doing much of the same things over and over again without properly adapting to S2. Even when S2 played a very similar strategy, it seemed like HK Rebels they had the game plan that they wanted to go for in mind, and they tried to force it out like they were beating their head against a wall. Lack of adaptability can really hurt teams, especially against more of a pug stack, and it really showed today. HK Rebels, they fall to S2 Esports, who I believe punched their ticket to tomorrow. We have a few teams already confirmed. LSR still undefeated, 7-0. Turbo & Co. 6-1. Able Esports above the law. Big Fans Favelas like us for Holes, S2, Homeland, Somali Pirates, and Citizens Arrest all now on 5 wins as well. A lot of teams I expected to see here not making it just yet. Teams like Eclectic 3.0 didn't ask. HK Rebels, Achieve Esports, they'll be fighting it out in the final round for a spot tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see HK Rebels fighting it out in the last round as well, just alongside those teams. But they got to do just to be a little bit better at adapting, fixing those mistakes they made towards the end of that game. They looked really good at the start, but then just their momentum really stalled out towards the end. Really just got to shore up those mistakes and just focus on getting that last win.
Yeah, so that's our third game over and done with. We've got one more to go tonight, the last round of Swiss, so don't go anywhere. We've got game 4 just after this short break.